You know how it is. We're all ambitious, right? We're pushing forward. We're driven. But sometimes, in the middle of all that hustle, it's so easy to just lose sight of where we're actually going. So today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea that's all about finding that direction and maybe starting to design a life that feels truly intentional.
All right, let's jump right in. Before we get into any of the big concepts, I want to start by asking you to just take a second for some real, honest reflection with me. It all kicks off with one simple, but maybe kind of hard question.
Really, let that one sink in for a minute. If you change nothing and your career just keeps going on its current track, is the life that's built around that success really the one you want? Just take a beat. It's a tough one, right? And hey, if your answer feels a little shaky or uncertain, that's exactly what we're here to talk about. So if that last question felt a bit weird or even unsettling, that is totally okay. Honestly, it's a good sign. It just means it's time to find your compass. And this is so important to get right from the start. A compass is not a map. It is something way more fundamental than that.
This right here is the heart of it. A compass isn't some kind of magic wand. It's not going to clear all the rocks out of the road ahead for you. Its only job, its one essential job, is to tell you if you're actually heading north when you want to be heading north. It just gives you your true bearing.
So let's break that down. What it does is give you direction. It makes those tough decisions a little clearer, and it helps you spot the opportunities that are actually right for you. But, and this is just as important, look at what it doesn't do. It doesn't remove the obstacles. The path won't suddenly be easy. And those difficult choices, they're still going to be there. The difference is you'll face them with clarity.
And that's the real payoff. That's the whole game. Once you know your true north, that feeling of being pulled in a million different directions, that constant confusion, it just starts to fade away. And what's left is this quiet confidence that comes from pure clarity.
Okay, so you've got this clarity, now what? Well, this is where we can start to build a whole new way of thinking about success. Because when you have a compass, you get to redefine what success actually means to you personally, not what the world tells you it should mean.
And look, let's be super clear here. There's absolutely nothing wrong with chasing these things. A great career, being financially secure, getting respect from your peers, these are good, valid goals. The problem isn't the goal itself.
This brings us to this really cool idea called aligned success. And again, this isn't about throwing out those goals we just talked about. Not at all. It's about making sure that those achievements are actually in harmony with the bigger picture. The life you actually want to be living, day in and day out.
And this right here, this is the absolute key. This is not about judging whether your priorities are right or wrong. If you want to prioritize your career over everything else for a few years, that's your call. The only thing that matters is that the choice is deliberate, that it's conscious, that you are the one in the driver's seat.
But what happens when that choice isn't conscious? What happens when we're just on autopilot? Well, chasing success without a compass, it has a hidden cost, and it's often a heavy one. It shows up in the sacrifices we never, ever intended to make.
Just let that idea land for a second. The sacrifices you make on purpose, working late to get that promotion, saving money instead of going on a big vacation, those are part of the plan. You've accepted that trade-off, but that's not the real cost.
This is it. This is the heavy part. The real cost is waking up one day and realizing you got everything you thought you wanted, but somewhere along the way, you drifted away from your partner, or you blinked and your kids grew up, or you lost touch with a part of yourself you used to love. And the painful truth is, you didn't choose to give those things up. It just happened because you weren't paying attention to your direction. So, how do we avoid that? How do we avoid that devastating cost? Well, this is where we pivot from the warning to the really empowering part. This is where we stop blindly chasing success and we start actively creating it. And it all starts with just a little bit of awareness. The second you start to really see the forces that are pulling you in certain directions, societal pressure, what your family expects, your own ambition, that's when something amazing happens. You suddenly gain the power to navigate those forces instead of just being pushed around by them. So it's really this simple mental shift. First, you just understand what's at play. Second, you make a conscious choice to turn off the autopilot, to stop chasing blindly. And finally, you take the wheel. You become the architect of your own success, making sure it actually fits into the life you really want. And that brings us right back around to the beginning, doesn't it? This whole thing isn't about having a perfect, detailed map with every step laid out. It's just about finding your direction, your own internal compass, and then having the courage to trust it. So I guess the only question left is, where will you decide to go?